Spotlight is proudly sponsored by Hec Media, St. Louis's home for arts, education, and culture.
More than anything, I just want her to be remembered. Her story is worth knowing.
We see our work as critical to the United States.
For how much we enjoy Derek, it just made sense that the world would enjoy him too.
Today on Spotlight, a STEM-based workforce education company training 16 to 24-year-olds. Plus, explore the fall-winter exhibits from the Contemporary Art Museum. And then you only have one more week to enjoy this art, why you should make plans to see it soon. But first, a South African musical legend and activist. It's Sunday and you're watching the Emmy Award-winning Spotlight.
They say she's sweet.
You may not know her name or her music, and you may not know her name or her music, but seeing a performance of Dreaming Zenzile will leave you with a deeper appreciation for both these artists.
I don't know if impersonation is the word as much as I'm trying to play the role of Miriam Makeba and trying to channel her as best as I can.
Miriam Makeba was a young singer from South Africa whose appearance in a 1959 docudrama about apartheid began her path to worldwide fame.
She became the darling of this hour-and-a-half long film.
The film brought Makeba to the attention of Harry Belafonte, who brought her to the United States. She was an instant sensation. Within a month, she was on the cover of Time. But time passes.
Those of us who've had a chance to get to know her music and artistry and legacy, even though she's no longer with us physically, she still very much lives in the imagination and in our lives.
Somi Kakoma is also an internationally known jazz singer who had the good fortune to see Miriam Makeba perform live. Now she's trying to give audiences a sense of Makeba's style and life story through a new musical called Dreaming Zenzile, which Somi Kakoma wrote. She also portrays Miriam Makeba.
She was the first African artist to kind of have huge commercial success on the global cultural stage. And so myself as a singer and writer and artist living in the Western world, operating in an international cultural economy, I owe her something.
Kakoma initially began paying that debt back by organizing a memorial for Makeba after her death in 2008. And it was that experience, balled up with complex emotions surrounding the death of her father, that started her down a path she didn't even recognize she was on when she first started walking it more than 6 years ago.
There's been kind of a sustained erasure around her legacy, even though she was at a certain, operating at a certain level and best friends with Nina Simone and had, was the first African artist to win a Grammy. I mean, so many things. And didn't really come back into the cultural consciousness of this country until around the 80s, Paul Simon's Graceland tour. She kind of popped up again.
I knew that this was a play that had the potential to really change the landscape of the American theater, and I still believe that.
Along with being a world premiere, Dreaming Zenzile is also the season opener at the Rep. It was supposed to be the season opener at the Rep last season, but 2 days after this rehearsal footage was shot in March 2020, COVID took the stage.
We literally closed the theater on the day we were moving from the rehearsal room to this beautiful stage for the show. And so to have this full circle moment, to turn the heartbreak into incredible joy, I could not be prouder to reopen the Repertory Theater of St. Louis for live performances at the Loretta Hilton with Dreaming Zenzile.
After Miriam Makeba retired, in November 2008, she agreed to perform a benefit concert in Italy. After her last song, she signaled to the band that she was going to do an encore, walked off the stage, collapsed in the wings and died. Dreaming Zenzili is set on that night, with members of the chorus also playing the roles of spirits who tell Makeba why her time to join them had come.
It's an emotional journey. I'm humbled by this work constantly.
Makeba would become known as Mama Africa, and as the wife of activist Stokely Carmichael, she became an important figure in the civil rights movement and the anti-apartheid movement. And while audiences today may barely remember Miriam Makeba, if they ever knew who she was to begin with, Somi Kakoma hopes Dreaming Zenzile will change both those things.
More than anything, I just want her to be remembered. Her story is worth knowing.
The opportunity to tell this story of this icon that has inspired me in my life, who represents a lot of complexity in the world in one body, in a city like St. Louis that understands and appreciates art, it felt like a no-brainer. This is where this play was meant to take flight.
For the Rep's full 2021 to 2022 calendar, visit repstl.org. Scan the QR code on your screen to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram.
With every stroke of the bow, every stroke of the brush, with every stroke of genius, the arts make life in St. Louis richer, not just emotionally, but also economically. In our region, the arts create almost $600 million a year in economic activity, supporting more than 19,000 jobs, generating almost $60 million for state and local governments, with almost 12 million annual arts-related visits. That's more than all St. Louis sporting events combined. Whether in a park, on a street, or a wall, experimental or a classic, the arts deserve our support, because the arts help support us. HEC Media is proud to be our region's home for arts, education, and culture, because in St. Louis, the arts mean business.
Gateway Global is the only organization in the United States that is eligible to train and credential in geospatial intelligence at the high school level.
Launched in 2018, Gateway Global specializes in STEM-based apprenticeship education and workforce development for 16 to 24-year-olds. They train and credential young people for entry-level tech positions in the geospatial sector. CEO and founder Zakita Armstrong Asukwo explains.
Young people learn geographic information systems, which is the technology for geospatial. And then they learn geospatial intelligence, which is an essential body of knowledge. And then we also are adding a new course of data analytics. So we offer stackable credentials that will have young people in the region become ready for entry-level jobs while they pursue higher education and get into the workforce.
So the goal is to pursue education for the purpose of eventually getting employment, not just for academic resources.
Work is important for the young people that we serve. It's an under-resourced demographic. So we know, because we've surveyed young people, that work is essential. And so our goal is to skill them, credential them, get them to work first, and then help them figure out a pathway plan that is a 2-year or 4-year degree or beyond.
You sound like you do a lot of very high-level education.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something where kids are going to get into it and say, oh, wow, this is a lot harder than I expected, I'm out of here?
What happens is that we usually lead with the big picture, right? And that's what gets them interested. The technology piece is the part that, is really, it's a lot of hard work. And so once we get them interested in solving those big problems, they work really hard at learning how to use the technologies. They're excited by the fact that we talk about big picture problems that they care about. Leading with that rather than something very general like the term STEM,
Yes.
for example, that they don't understand and most people don't understand either. That's not what draws them in. It's always, here's the problem and we're going to show you the technology you can use to solve it.
Who are your instructors?
Our instructors are actually hired geospatial analysts, professionals with a range of different skills, and they are professionals who've worked within the industry, who are specialized in geospatial science and technology, who also have a passion for teaching.
People who have real practical experience.
Real practical experience, and that's what matters, because everything that the young people do in our course is hands-on. They are they are working with the software most of the time. This is not all theory, this is in practice. The other thing too is that we are partnering with Seiler Instrument, which is the leader in geospatial instruments, and so they will be donating instruments to us so that our young people can then go out into the field, and we will add that to our coursework as well. So they're getting a series of stackables that are you usually don't get until after you've graduated from a 4-year degree program.
Along with their virtual training program, Gateway Global has plans to expand to in-person, hands-on learning opportunities.
We are actually opening a training campus in North St. Louis. And so we have 2 buildings, what they call affected neighborhoods near MGA. And so we have 2 buildings in Hyde Park and then a piece of land in Old North. And so that will be new construction. And then the 2 existing buildings will be renovated. And then the young people, not high school students, obviously, because they have to go to school, but recent graduates will be able to come over and have some collaboration in person, use computers, experience different types of simulation and geospatial, et cetera. And it'll be accessible to them in their own community so that we start to kind of wet their whistle, if you will, and they get a little bit excited and say, what's really going on in this industry here, and what are the opportunities? So that is a big piece of our community engagement in North St. Louis.
Potential of taking this national from St. Louis?
Oh yeah, for sure. So our goal has always been to scale. We see our work as critical, not only to the St. Louis region and not only to the state of Missouri, but to the United States. And the reason why is because we focus a lot on big picture problems with young people, local, nationwide, and global problems, and then also U.S. critical infrastructure, and as well as U.S. defense and homeland security. So we have very specialized focus so that we can get young people on pathways that will make a big difference.
If I were a young person interested in your program, how do I avail myself of it?
Our programming is listed on our website. It's ggayba.org. And so a young person could come to our website and then fill out the application online or make an inquiry, and then our program coordinator will get back to them and let them know what the next steps are.
Scan the QR code on your screen to watch the full interview or visit hecmedia.org.
A man touching hearts and changing minds later on Spotlight.
For content that keeps you coming back for more, go to hecmedia.org.
When you walk through a storm,
Celebrating the people who are really putting their lives on the line.
Be entertained.
I like to take a piece of flat material and form it and transform it into something that's three-dimensional and interesting.
Get inspired.
The next pandemic, we won't have to pivot and try to get ready for something. We'll already have that in place.
Learn something new.
We're all from St. Louis, and we really just wanted to be able to give back to the city and see the city grow.
Connect with your community.
I had never written a book before, and I just thought it would be a really good way to do it and bring the experience to the reader.
Go in depth with experts and your favorite authors, all in one place. For original programming and award-winning content, go to hecmedia.org.
My name is Wasan Al-Khudairi. I'm the Chief Curator at the Contemporary Art Museum, St. Louis. At CAM for Fall/Winter 2021, we have a series of exhibitions by a number of different artists. All of the exhibitions this season are really exploring kind of general themes of form and color, thinking about an artist reflecting on the last year that we've lived through, but also work dating back 10 to 15 years earlier as well. And so with the exhibitions for the artist Kathy Butterly and the artist Shara Hughes, there are sort of like little surveys that show the practice of these artists' work over longer periods of time. With Farah Al-Qasimi, who did the project while at CAM, her project is really looking at the last year and her relationship to thinking about her family and history and memory through the conditions that we all kind of experienced last year during the pandemic.
My name is Farah Al-Qasimi. I am an artist with work up in the current season at the CAM St. Louis, and I'm showing a body of work that loosely traces my mother's family's migration from Lebanon to the United States in the 1950s. The work that I'm showing is mostly pulled from family albums that I discovered while quarantining in my family's house. So I went through these albums, tried to figure out who some of the people were who were unfamiliar to me, and then also rephotographed those images in my studio, hiding some of the faces and bringing in some more contemporary documents. At the same time, I was also working with photographing their homes, looking at the ways that they had decorated their homes over time in an attempt to assimilate into American society and the ways that they decided to appear more American. I think one of the threads that appears and reappears in the show are these sort of micro-narratives that have come out through generations of oral history, little stories that my mom told me, that her mom told her. One of my favorites is kind of centered around this hotel that my grandmother worked at. And you see a lot of motifs of tiny little shrimp in the show, and the reason for that is that my grandmother was from a very small rural mountain village in Lebanon, and when she moved to the US and got this job working in the kitchen of this hotel, she discovered by accident that she had a severe allergy to shellfish. She had just never been exposed to shellfish because of where she was from geographically. So I find these little things very interesting because they say something about our genetics, they say something about our family histories, but it's often in these little anecdotes. And so that's how I see the photographs. I see them as containing information, but really sort of being a playful and sometimes fictive way to bring that information to light.
So this season at CAM, we're showing a number of artists who are exploring themes around color and form and aesthetic. And many of these artists are working in very intuitive ways, which is really exciting to think about. So they're artists who approach the work and really allow the medium to help them decide how to move forward or step back from a work of art. So listening to each of them speak, I think it's really interesting to learn that for many artists, they really allow the work to speak to them and they respond to the work, as opposed to going into a work with a clear definition of how they want to proceed. A lot of these artists are working in very intuitive and physical ways with the mediums that they work with, whether it's painting in Shara Hughes' show, or ceramics and porcelain with Kathy Butterly, or photography with Farah Qasimi.
This is the first time for so many people to be able to see art again in public. It's the first time for me personally as an artist to be able to travel to see my own show since 2019. So I'm incredibly grateful to be here and to be in St. Louis for the first time and seeing my work and the other work that's on view at the museum.
CAM is free. We're always free, and people can sign up for a free timed entry through our website, camstill.org. We also do accept walk-ins when there is enough space in the museum, so people are welcome to come then as well.
On display through February 2022. You also don't want to miss Origami at the Missouri Botanical Garden, closing October the 10th.
Origami in the Garden is a traveling sculpture exhibit from Santa Fe artists Kevin and Jennifer Box, and it features large-scale metal sculptures that tell the story of the art of paper folding, or origami. There are 18 sculptures throughout the garden, and they are made of museum-quality metals. They start with a single piece of paper that's folded into an origami sculpture, and that is then done on a larger scale in museum-quality metals. The process of installing the sculptures for Origami in the Garden took about a week. The artists spent a week in St. Louis overseeing the installation of the pieces. I watched them assemble this piece right here, so it was kind of flying through the air on a crane as it got up on that pedestal. The one in the central axis was kind of like an artificial Christmas tree. It came in 3 pieces that they put together to make that tower. And that again was done with a crane, so lots of heavy lifting, teamwork involved, and now they're throughout the garden and they look amazing. These pieces are specifically designed to be displayed in botanical gardens, and we thought it was a perfect fit for the Missouri Botanical Garden. They have several different size shows, and we have the largest on display because we have 79 beautiful acres here at the Missouri Botanical Garden. Again, we have 18 sculptures throughout the garden. We have traditional origami peace cranes, we have floating boats, flying airplanes, this lovely Pegasus behind me, just really a wonderful array of different sculptures. In the central axis, we have a sculpture in the pools that has 500 origami peace cranes. and they are reflected in the pool to represent 1,000 origami peace cranes, which are a symbol of good luck. And we do have a community component to Origami in the Garden, and that is our folded force that's on display in the Brookings Exploration Center. And anyone in the community is welcome to create their own origami paper sculpture that will be on display in that folded forest area. Origami in the Garden will be on display at the Missouri Botanical Garden through October 10th. For more information, you can visit our website at mobot.org. And Origami in the Garden is included with general garden admission. The garden is open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we will also have some evening hours for Origami in the Garden.
Go to hecmedia.org for the arts and authors,
Completely accidental because I never set out to write a book.
science and history, culture and community,
It's considered to be the oldest organic farm west of the Mississippi.
education, films,
Finding the coin places the site firmly in the 13th century.
what's happening now around St. Louis, and more. See for yourself at hecmedia.org.
Well, this is perfect. Let's get high.
All right, are you ready? Okay.
Go for it.
And we are rolling. Hey, what'd you say?
I look over there.
Yeah, you did. Who's your favorite?
I'm Derek Baker. I am the TikTok champ. I was hoping we'd see it.
With 2.5 million followers worldwide, Derek Baker is a TikTok star. What makes Derek different, though, is he also has Down syndrome. That difference is touching hearts and changing minds.
He's hilarious for how much we enjoy Derek and our friends and family enjoy Derek. Like, it just made sense that the world would enjoy him too.
That's funny, Derek.
That's Derek's younger sister, Katie. She and her sister Jenna launched Baker Banter on March 21st of 2020, which just also happens to be World Down Syndrome Day.
I called Katie and I was like, this is it. Like, Derek's always wanted this YouTube channel. Let's make a YouTube channel. And her being the Gen Zer that she is, was like, well, if you want to be on YouTube, you got to be on TikTok. And I was like, okay, what's TikTok?
Into the thick of it.
Let's see. 2, 1, pop.
Into the thick of it. Ugh.
That's good. Perfect.
It's good. We wanted to spread that acceptance, spread like the word on what Down syndrome is. And Derek has shown me that people with Down syndrome can be incredible and can be intelligent and can be witty and funny and smart. And we've just been opening eyes. And I think that's a really good blessing for our family.
Joe's on it. Yeah!
Love you, buddy.
I'm in tears right now. It's been a whirlwind when I'm starting this. It's really awesome. Put myself out there, and here I am talk about it. Baker Banter is part of the life. Those people around the world knows my name, like United States, United Kingdom, Australia,
New Zealand. We got a package from Pakistan once.
Everywhere.
Oh my goodness, you guys have delivered.
And on his birthday this year, Derek received cards from all across the nation and 22 other countries.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Derek is part of the Step Up program at Lafayette Industries. It's a competitive employment program for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
What'd you learn?
I learned a lot.
All right, what are we doing for lunch?
Panda.
No, you don't want.
I need a dashboard cam. Not to look out to see but to look at Derek and I, because the conversations we have in the car are hysterical.
Valerie is Derek's mom. She explained one conversation centered around where the family should go on vacation.
Let's just go to Vegas. And I said, okay, like we've been there before. Why do you want to go back? He says, I want to go to a strip club. I'm like, you know, like, no. He goes, well, I'm like, where have you even heard that, you know? And he says, well, it's not like they take their clothes off, Mom. I'm like, that's exactly what they do. Like, that's what a strip club is. And I think that we've touched a lot of people's lives. And I think that, the whole goal, at least for me, to support the platform that the kids have created is that we're trying to show the world that people with Down syndrome are more like them than they are different.
All right, bud. Let's move.
Go.
You got your phone?
Phone, wallet.
Check. All right, get in. Let's go.
Go.
At 24 years old, like his peers, Derek has a job. He works at Pioneer Bakery in Kirkwood.
Because of Lafayette, I do work at a Pioneer. It's been whirlwind. I can't wait for the future holes.
We're not dipping smiley face cookies today. We're doing the gooey butter.
I enjoy working in the front of the house. The front of the house is meaning the new people walks in. Like for example, welcome to Pioneer.
My goal is that people embrace Derek, and then that, love, if you will, that they have for Derek online resonates to the kid in their classroom or the person who works in the grocery store that maybe is a little bit different.
Your total, ma'am, is $26.22.
Perfect. Derek empowered us 24 years ago. Our whole world changed when Derek came, and at 5 days old, we got the diagnosis of Down syndrome. My sister said to me was, Val, I don't know how to make you feel better today, but I know that little boy is gonna heal your broken heart. And he did, and he does every day. And now, because of social media and TikTok and YouTube, we have a platform to just show it to everybody else.
Did you even know what TikTok was when this all started?
No. No.
I did.
I'm still not that sure.
That feels good for me to hit the ball, make it to first base, second base, touchdown.
Derek's first love, however, is the WWE. He follows them and recently found out
No way. No freaking way. They actually found Baker Banter?
People come in to see him, they don't come in to see me, right? They come from all over the country.
Derek gives people a glimpse into the world of a person with Down syndrome, and he is awesome.
Hey, Jen, and I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, keep making me famous. I'm loving it.
Peace.
Love you.
Peace.
Next week, the St. Louis Art Museum uses photos to examine architecture, plus the miraculous survival of an overlooked people living in lands that didn't want them. Thanks for watching Spotlight. Join us next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. on KPLR 11.